Welcome back to this week's episode of John and T Squared. Unfortunately, this week we are not T Squared. We are joined by the lovely Lorraine Robinson. Unfortunately, Tracy Arnott is not very well this week, so we wish her a very, very speedy recovery, and she will be joining us again next week, where we're going to catch up about all of our projects, etc., for the UFO weekend and the International Quilters Day weekend. But without further ado, hello, welcome. We are full of snow at the moment down here in the Buckinghamshire, Hertfordshire area. And we're just dreaming of that gorgeous, wonderful, sunny, wonderful experience that Tracy B is enjoying. Tracy Bouras, how are you today, my darling?
Hello, John. How are you? I'm all good in this side of the world. Weather is starting to cool down a bit, so it's still okay. I'm in a t-shirt, and I think I can get a pair of shorts on over the weekend. It doesn't look too rainy, but yeah, it's been really good, really good. Long week ahead. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yay! And welcome to our very first guest, Lorraine. Hello, Lorraine.
Hello. Hi, how are you all?
We're all good. How are you? Welcome. Are you looking forward to this? Are you excited, nervous? What are you thinking?
A little bit nervous on this
Why?
wet Thursday evening.
Oh, it's a bit miserable, isn't it? Now,
Miserable.
whereabouts in the world are you, Lorraine?
I'm in Essex in the UK. Burnham on Crouch in Essex.
So a little bit of background about you. You, like me, are you were a shop owner.
I was a shop owner. I'm now retired, and I am making at the moment my very, very first stack and whack.
No way.
I am on my own.
Seriously? Which one?
Well, I don't know. What do you mean?
Is it the
which
method
one?
I taught you?
It's probably, yeah, because I'm sure it's all the same. I saw a tutorial from Missouri Style Quilting, and it all just made sense. So I'm doing my first stack and whack on my own without the aid of a safety net. And that's it.
That is so exciting. And how are you enjoying retirement?
Love it. I just haven't got enough time in the day now.
Do you know that the Tracys and I have always said we haven't got enough time. When we retire, maybe we'll have enough time, and you just
no,
retired and you don't have the time.
No, I had more time when I went to work.
That's funny.
I think because you actually say, I've been at work all week, so on Sunday, I'm not doing anything but sew. And then, now I've retired, it's like, just keep doing other things. Yeah, so it's mad and mental, but it's good.
Fabulous. So your
And you
first
do
stack
have-
and whack, what is your favorite style of quilting? Do you have a specific type, or?
As I've got into quilting, I'm trying different things this year. This year I've decided that I'm going to try something new each quilt, I think. Each quilt would be a quilt I've never done before. So I've done the half square triangles and the squares and all that sort of thing. So I'm not saying I'm not going to do them again, but every quilt this year I want to make it a new quilt. I want to push myself.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
bucket list of quilt techniques. That's a very good idea. We should do a bucket list challenge, John.
I like this.
Yeah.
Ah.
So, an easy quilt and a complicated quilt. And then it just stretches your imagination, stretches your abilities and techniques, and you learn something.
I really like that idea. So what's on your
Excellent.
bucket list?
Well, my first one is the stack and whack. I've seen a fantastic pattern for Storm at Sea. So I'm going to try and do that. I got the quilter's ruler from Creative Grids, and that's where I got the idea and the pattern. So yeah, Storm at Sea, look it up on Creative Grids.
I do love the storm at sea. There are so many beautiful ones where you can do different heart shapes and different things
Yeah,
like that. They're
yeah.
amazing.
And I want to do a double wedding ring that I've never done before. So yeah, I just want to mix it all up, really.
I do love that idea. Tracy, what would be on your bucket list?
Oh, I don't know, just finish a quilt. I'm going with that for now. In fact, the last few weeks have been pretty productive for me, John. I must say that I've managed to. I'm in the process of sewing three quilts at the same time, and they're almost all finished. And yeah, I'm getting really excited to get them done. I've splurged a bit on fabric, like they're really nice, expensive, good quality fabrics. And so for me, I'm making them for myself. So that's been quite a nice experience to treat myself to new fabric. That's going to be for me. So that's what I'm really excited about. But
That's
as far
very
as
exciting.
bucket list, there are lots of things that I'd like to try, but because I'm trying to create sort of paper foundation piecing, I'm sort of focusing a little bit more on that and trying out different things. So as soon as I've got these three under my belt, I think I'm going to try some more paper foundation piecing and giving some new patterns a whirl. But yeah, that's as far as a bucket list till the middle of the year. Towards the end, we'll look at something else, I think.
So fantastic.
Mm.
I love
And you,
it.
John, what's your bucket list? You seem to get through about a bazillion of them. I see every time I look, you're doing something new. So I just wonder if you do have a bucket list of
I was just because
quilt
as you've
ideas.
all been talking, I kind of think to myself, if I want to do it, I do it, and I don't mess around, and I do it now. I don't do it very well, but I do it and I get it done. But it is interesting because there are quilts out there that you look at and think, oh, I'd love to make that one day. But I think as well, there are things that I don't know. Because literally anything that I really do like the look of, I make an effort to make sure I go and do it.
Well, that's what I've thought, John. I keep saying I'd like to do that, I'd like to do that, and I've not done it. So this year I've decided that I'm going to try and do as many quilts as I can that I've not done before.
I love it.
So have you got a plan, Lorraine, or are you just going to be like, okay, I'm finished this one. This is going to be my
And I'm going
next,
to
or have
go
you
on
sort
to
of
the
written them
next
out?
one. Yeah,
Ah,
I'm going to do the stack and whack, and my plan this year is to do the quilt top before I start another quilt. So I've got to finish the quilt top and then get the backing ready and give it to John.
oh, that's
And
fighting talk, I must
yep,
say.
and then I'll start on the next one.
Oh,
So
I wish I could do that.
that's
I'm
that's
loving
the
this
plan.
idea.
Yeah, that's the plan. I've got so much fabric, I must use it because otherwise I'm not going to live long enough to use all my fabric, and then John's going to get it all.
No, I'm good, thanks. You can give it to someone else. I'm full up. I'm full up. And if you need stuff to come with me, just keep living long enough for you to do it yourself. I'm not interested. Thank you. I would more than happily take any donations to our Quilters Legacy Foundation to be able to pass on to people who would like to learn to quilt but can't afford it. So with pleasure, we will take your stuff, but I'd prefer you would be alive to enjoy people enjoying it.
I hope so too.
Yay. That's a really good idea, though. I love this bucket list idea. Very good. Now, of course, I'm going to spend the next 6 weeks going through all the books and everything that I've ever seen and loved and make a list. I'm never going to get any work done.
Well, that's it. I've been through most of my patterns to find something that's going to inspire me to think that's the next one.
It's very true, though. You do lack motivation at times. I think
Yeah.
that's a really nice way of doing it.
I've got some Lynette Anderson fabric, and I loved her fabric a few years ago, and I seemed to buy every collection that she brought out, and now I've gone off it, and I thought, shall I sell it or shall I just find something to use it on? So I've been going through all my patterns to see if anything grabs me.
It's really interesting because a couple of weeks ago we were discussing this exact thing. And I personally think if you've fallen out of love with the fabric, forcing yourself into a project with fabric that you're not loving anymore, I
Yeah,
personally don't think that's a good idea, because it's not going to bring you as much joy as if you used the same pattern with fabric that you're head over heels in love
yeah,
with at that
yeah,
time.
yeah. You're probably right there.
I'm never wrong, dear.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh,
So are you more of a traditional quilter? Would you say that? Do you do lots of machine piecing? I mean, this is the first time that I've really had a good chat with you, so I'm going to ask you all those
yeah,
quilting
no,
little questions.
I like hand sewing, so I like piecing. Um, English paper piecing I like.
Mm, mm.
Um, John taught me foundation paper piecing, and I really like that. And I've got a few patterns that I would like to do. But it's one of those things that because I've only done it the once, these patterns, you're a little bit, you get the patterns out and you think, oh no, I'm frightened of that, and you put them away again.
Are you talking about the elephant you may or may not
Yes,
have bought from me this week?
yes, the elephant in the room.
That
Um,
elephant, I don't know if anybody's seen it. I can't remember who wrote it. Was it Violet Craft?
no, I've got that one as well. I can't remember what it was called.
And the fading in of Lorraine's voice, in and out of Lorraine's voice, is heard now going off to go and find it to answer.
No,
Right.
I was just turning round to see if I could see it, but I can't. I've put it away somewhere. But no,
Tracy,
the
Tracy, can I
trouble
tell
is,
you a secret?
Tell me a secret, John.
It's going to embarrass Lorraine, though. Lorraine, can I tell a story that's going to embarrass you?
yeah, good luck for trying to embarrass me.
So, Lorraine may or may not have placed an order with me, but Lorraine, she lives on her yacht over the winter. And while she was on her yacht this year, obviously she couldn't have deliveries because she's doesn't have a post box where the yacht is. So all of the fabric that she had went into a little bag and then went into a little bag. And when she bought something else, it went into the bag. And by the time we got to about 3 weeks ago, the bag was so big and annoying me so much that I phoned her and I said, "Are you at home tomorrow?" Because she moved back home. Yes, on the was it the 1st of March?
Yeah,
Moved back home 1st March. She said yes. So I showed her all of her bits and bobs that were going in this giant colossal box. And I put the box up, and then 3.5 rolls of duct tape later, it was all wrapped up, ready to go. And I was taking it off to the post office. And as I was going ready to the post office, I remember I had a parcel for Sylvia. Sylvia wasn't in work for a little bit and she needed something urgently. So I posted something to Sylvia. And when I posted it to her, she phoned me at the post office because I needed to confirm her address. And she said, "Don't put anything rude on the outside of the envelope." And I said, "Of course I won't, darling." So immediately I picked up my black Sharpie and wrote "sex toys enclosed" on Sylvia's bag. And Sylvia arrived the next day. She phoned me. She says, "I couldn't understand why the postman was wetting himself laughing at me when he delivered my parcel this morning." And she said it had been on the counter for about an hour before Alan had said, "What is that?" Alan being her husband. So I've got this enormous box. And I thought to myself, she'll kill me, but I did it anyway.
it was funny.
That was very funny.
Yes,
So
was
anyway,
funny.
at least her postman still talks to her.
Well, I don't see him, you see, because everything goes to the
That
office.
makes it even better. I was hoping Jerry, your husband, would collect it, and you would be the one who wouldn't notice.
Oh dear.
Bless him. So as you can
That's
tell,
a
Lorraine
really
is a
good
very
idea.
good friend of mine. I get away with a massive amount of nonsense with her.
It's good fun though. We have lots of laughs.
That we do. That we do.
What's the
So,
weather like with you, Tracy?
Well, we're sort of going from summer into autumn, so it's getting a little bit cooler at night. At night it's getting a little bit cooler, but it's still, the weather's pretty decent. We don't get such cold weather as you guys, like middle of winter. If we go sort of close to 4 or 5 degrees, that's very cold. You know, people
Yeah.
start like, you know, bundling up and saying it's the
Mm.
coldest winter ever, because Cape Town tends to be quite mild. But yeah, I must say at the moment, the evenings, the cloud formations, the night sky, we've had some beautiful, like, oh, just the colors are so amazing. And I keep like snapping photos and thinking, oh, that would be like, that's a gorgeous quilt color combination. That's a great,
Yeah.
like, when I look at colors like that, I often try and, not that I can remember color, but taking definitely a photo is, that might be a bucket list for me, you know, taking photos of color combinations. I often do that and say, oh, this is interesting. I would never put those colors together. And nature's a great way to come up with some real interesting ones. And then obviously, you know, you take that picture, then you could try and pull some fabrics from it. So that's also just another way of being creative and
Yeah.
and putting color combinations together. It really is something that'll be a bucket list thing for me, to try out different colors that are not my usual, you know, usual fare. I like pinks and soft sort of colors.
That would be amazing if you took a photo of a beautiful sunset. I know when John was in South Africa last year, and the sunsets were amazing. And then if you could then put that on a quilt, wouldn't that be gorgeous?
Mm, yeah, yeah. The coloring here is definitely, it's got a
Yeah.
whole different feel to it. And
Yeah.
yeah, where I am, it's particularly, yeah, I feel very blessed where I am. The sunrises and the sunsets are just something that is etched into my brain. I think
Oh,
for as long as I live, I'll always remember those colors.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, very
Beautiful.
lucky. Mm.
I won't deny, as you've been talking, there is a quilt in my head that I want to do, but it's awful. It's one of those things that I think as a quilter, none of us ever think we're good enough to be able to make something truly special and truly spectacular. And I think for myself, the one that I've got in my head, I know what it should look like, and I know how much it's going to take to get it right and to do it. And it's one of those ones where you're just not quite sure if A, you can do it, and B, if you can do it well, and C, if people will actually be able to see the image and what you want to create and understand what you're going to do. So I think it's that whole having the belief in your abilities as well as having the belief in the message that you've got being able to get across. Because I think when you talk about all the photographs and pictures that you want to do, I've created thread collections just specifically about the sunsets of Africa, and the colors are just spectacular. But trying to
Yeah.
translate that onto cloth is very hard.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's not a direct translation. It's about creating a quilt using those colors. So color combination. So doing a traditional, more, I mean, I tend to steer a little bit more modern at the moment. So create those sort of like, you know, there was a particularly beautiful like light blue and dark blue, and I thought, well, that would make a really nice quilt color combination. And so to try and find fabrics that match that color, or to dye it yourself, and then to create a quilt using those colors, I think that could be like that's what I meant by creating something different. So
Yeah.
I tend to steer a little bit away from landscapes. I feel like I haven't made enough quilts to be able to do that kind of thing. I think that's, for me, I feel like that's something you do when you're a really good quilter. at least
But do you see
100
what I
quilts in.
mean?
Yeah.
But do you see what I mean? It's when you're a really good quilter and you're just kind of thinking
Yeah.
to yourself, I've got a long arm quilting machine, and I think I'm doing quilt number 300 and something at the minute. And then you think to yourself, and I always think to myself, oh, I'm not a very good quilter. But then you think to yourself, well, you've done 300 of them. That's over 4 years. And you do kind of think, well, that's quite a lot every month. Does that make you a good quilter or not? So I suppose it's just, how do you quantify it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes, though, if you just say, for argument's sake, you see a sunset, I think unless you dye the fabric yourself, you can't always match up the movement of the sky
Mm.
other other fabrics. I've got a picture of in my mind of a sunset, and I think it would be very difficult to get the matching fabrics unless you use batiks or you dyed them yourself.
Mm.
All right,
I
my
do think
brain's going, oh, another project.
You're
I do
welcome.
I do think as well the idea of dyeing your own fabrics and doing all of that, I do think it is quite special. I remember doing a Bargello with a lady at one of my retreats. I was teaching a Bargello quilt, and she had dyed all of her own fabrics because she wanted to get this beautiful ombre of colors. And sadly, she passed away about 6 months after after the quilting retreat. And it's awful because you don't quite know whether the quilt got finished or not. But these beautiful colors that she dyed, oh my God, I was always thinking to myself, what happened to them? Because they were so beautiful. And the way she did it was so gorgeous. So I do think that probably would be on my bucket list as well, being able to dye fabric to create something like that. It would be beautiful.
Is it Jenny Raymond who does a lot of dyeing of fabric herself?
She does classes for it as well,
Yeah, very clever.
but she does dyeing in a microwave.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it's mad. I remember going to her house and she taught me how to dye in a microwave. Can't remember a thing. But I do know you needed to have a separate sink for it because your sink gets very coloured.
Yeah. Yeah, all these different ideas that people just sit and think about and actually do it. I think that's the problem. I don't actually do it. I just think a lot.
Well, I think you are doing it now. You've made your bucket
Oh
list. You're
yes.
doing them. So I
Yes.
think that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if it really called to you, you would make a plan to do it. Like,
Yes.
when you're ready to do that, when you're ready to do dyeing, or, dyeing, you think, oh, that could be nice. But, until you've seen like a color, for example, you're like, oh, I can't find that anywhere. I have to dye, I have to dye the fabric. So
Mm.
that would be your inspiration. So
Yeah,
I think when it calls to you and you can't stop yourself, I think that's the perfect
that's
inspiration
yes.
to get through
Yes,
your
you're
bucket
quite
list.
right, Tracy. Yeah.
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 Oh, no, it's very interesting. I've been, there's so many things that I've wanted to also do, and you kind of beat yourself up because oh, I still haven't done that, and I still haven't done that. But at the same time, you do what you want to have fun with, what's important to you, the stuff that you enjoy doing, and not for it to become a slog or just a thing to tick off your list of things to do. You want to make your thing that really gets your juices flowing, and then you move on to something else, and then you're inspired to do something else, so you use
Yeah.
that perhaps as a launch pad. So
Mm.
that's what's so great about quilting. It's not just about sewing little pieces of fabric together. There's just so much
Yeah.
to it
Endless.
that
Yeah.
can inspire creativity. So that's wonderful.
I quite like hand turned applique as well.
Oh, that's very
Mm.
grown up.
Yeah, I really enjoy hand sewing.
Tracy, we can tell who the
Yeah.
talented one amongst us is. Not saying that you're not talented, but I've no clue how on earth you would do that. No clue.
Well, hand sewing is something, because we have our power cuts here, John, you kind of do tend to look at things a little bit differently. So, maybe when you don't need, you don't have power, you can look at doing some slow stitching or, hand work. It's a great way to get some quilting in where maybe you're just always rushing all the time, and yeah, you're forced a little bit to to look at things differently. So
Yeah.
hand sewing is a slow process, but I think if you not learn, but if you sit to really just enjoy the quiet time, and for me at the moment, being able to not think about other things, it's quilting's really nice. The hand sewing forces you to like relax and take time with your stitches, especially if it's something that you're trying to do well. I tend to rush to get things done, and so maybe don't spend as much time on that quarter inch as I should.
Well, I
So,
find reading books, I haven't got the time to read a book, but I love my audio books. So I can sit in my sewing room sew happily all afternoon, and I've got a book on in the background, so I can listen to that. So that's good.
I do the same
It's really
because I
calming.
feel like I'm multitasking then.
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm reading and sewing at the same time. It's just very awful because when I do it in the office with the girls, they kind of get a quarter of a book. So I always feel very guilty that they've listened to half
And
of it.
I say to my husband when he comes home, "Oh, another book I've read today." I said, "Oh no, I've not read it, have I?"
Tracy, what do you pop on in the background while you're sewing?
Oh, there might be a podcast or two that I like to listen to. There's a few quilting ones, but I, depending on my mood, I like to listen to things that inspire me, that podcasts that make you get a little bit of vummer going, and positive things that are attribute to a positive frame of mind. Those are the things that I really do enjoy. And the other day I said, gosh, I don't really listen to too much music. And then suddenly, like, I was watching an Instagram thing, and then you always have those little shorts that people put on. I'm like, oh, Billie Eilish, I really love that. So crank that really loud and tidy my sewing room, and that really just gets your bum going. That's kind of what I enjoy, like loud, toe tapping music that inspires me to clean my sewing room.
That's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah, music is a great way to change your mood, because even if you are feeling, if you're feeling down and you want to get something going, it's a great way to change your frame of mind. So I never really thought about that until the other day when I did that to myself. So yeah, thanks for the reminder. Tracy, thanks for the reminder.
I love it. Oh, brilliant. It's an exciting, I think this is a different week. And I'm so sad Tracy's not here, because I think she really would have enjoyed getting to know Lorraine.
Yeah, it's a shame. I wish her better soon.
We'll have to get you back on again, Lorraine.
Well, Lorraine, I'm very interested in your little elephant quilt that you bought, pattern that you bought, because I bought one the other day too.
Tracy, you don't understand. You don't understand. It is, so it's the English paper piecing one that is enormous. It's about 60 inches square, but I think there are about 12, sorry, Lorraine, block your ears.
Okay.
I think there are 12 or 13,000 pieces of fabric in this tiny elephant. It's enormous. It's absolutely terrifying. And everyone I know who's done it has said the feet are absolutely horrible to do. And the trunk is vile. But Lorraine took one look at it and went, "Oh my God, I love that. I must have that." I'm like, "Here, buy mine." Okay.
So is it paper foundation or is it English paper piecing?
Paper foundation.
Oh my gosh. I think it's the same one that is the Violet Craft one, isn't it?
The
No, there's
Violet
two.
Craft one is very colourful.
Yeah.
This one, and it's also Violet Craft is multicoloured fabric, plain fabric.
Yeah.
But this one that I bought off of John is like the whole elephant on the, and you've got the tail and everything, and you've got the legs. But the Violet Craft one is just the head and the trunk.
No, the one I've got's got the whole body. So maybe I've got a different one. Ooh, we're gonna have to swap notes and see if it's something similar. Challenge accepted.
Yeah,
I can't believe I just made a challenge without being challenged.
I can't believe you made another one. I found it. It's the Abstracts quilt pattern.
That's it. Okay. Yeah.
So Tracy B, if you go and find your phone.
I'm on it already, John.
If you look on your messenger, it should have pinged on your phone.
Am I going to be horrified? Yes, that's the one I've got. I got it. Oh.
Well, I think you and Lorraine should...
Lorraine, I love you already.
I think you and Lorraine should do that together, and you should do it as a sew-along with all the other people in the world who are mad enough to have done it.
Oh, I just love elephants.
I can't wait to quilt it, because I've seen a few of them quilted, and I'm like, for me, I make quilts so that I can quilt them real pretty.
That's the only thing.
This is gorgeous.
That's my only downfall, is the quilting up. I might try and start doing them by hand, because one of my old
Oh,
customers, she used to do them by hand,
yeah.
and they look quite nice.
Mm.
I'll just give them to John.
That sounds like the path of least resistance, because then that allows you to send it on its way to be loved by John, and you can carry on and start a new quilt.
Yeah, that's
Ooh.
right. Yeah. I'll tell you what else I like with the quilting is I love hand sewing the edging on. What is it called, John? My
The
brain.
binding.
The binding, yes. I love
Ah,
hand sewing the
least.
binding.
Yeah, my least favorite part. Although, have you
Oh,
ever done any big stitch binding? And that
A
really
what?
looks so. When you do your binding, instead of sewing it at the back with, sort of a blind hem stitch, you use a really nice big sort of perle cotton, or yeah, big stitch. So you stitch it down like that, and it like really gives a real great finish. And I like those big stitches, look like they can go real quick too. So that's been one of my sort of
and,
go-to. Yeah.
and would you go through the other sides? So would you
Um,
see your big stitches from both sides, or just
I think
because
yes,
what's
you
suddenly
would. You would
flashed
see
in
it on
my
the back.
mind? Yeah, is if you got some nice thread, you could do a blanket stitch, so you could blanket stitch it down
Mm,
instead of doing it blind, so you can't see it. You could
yeah,
make a feature of it, couldn't you?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
See,
No, the
I've got a
big stitch
much better
stuff is
way of
great.
doing it,
Who'd you give yours to, John?
Sylvia.
I also need a little Sylvia in my life.
You do. We can have a little Lorraine. Lorraine will do it for you.
Yeah, I love it. I love hand sewing. Yeah, and I have a little bet with myself how see if I can see any stitches at the end.
And what if you
Oh,
can?
good Lord.
I'll unpick it.
You do not.
I do.
You
I
really
do.
unpick it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mad.
if I see any hand stitching, I unpick.
Good Lord.
Madness.
Okay.
Yeah,
That is mad.
yeah, yeah. Me and my unpicker are best friends.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well, so Lorraine, we definitely need to be in touch about that elephant quilt. I must say that
Oh yes,
I bought two quilt patterns over Black Friday, and that was one of them. And I've already
yeah,
done one of the others, so I feel like I've at least ticked that off my list of things that I've done, and this will be my next one.
yeah.
It's just a case of getting the fabric. Have you decided what fabric you're going to use for yours?
No, I don't at the moment. I
Okay.
don't think of fabric at the moment. Hey, John.
Yeah.
You've got no fabric at all, Lorraine. You're going to have to find
No.
a really good shop that could ship them to you.
Yes, yes. I need more fabric, like a hole in the head.
But I think as well, you need to make sure that you've got a fabric shop who will send it to you with rude messages on the side of your box. I think that's much more entertaining.
John,
I'll
I'm
have a bit
almost
of a
tempted to order something from you just so I can get a rude package.
Oh,
yes.
steady on. So we have a multitude of services. So one lady phoned me. She placed an order and she said, "You've got to say I've won a prize." I said, "With pleasure, no problem." And Sylvia drew up this master's certificate to say, "Well done on your prize, awarded to you by iQuilt Studios." And then there was another lady who wanted to she wanted to send it to a friend, but she wanted me to swear never to tell her who the friend was. So of course I never did. And then there's loads of services. So you just got to ring in and talk to someone.
Yeah, it's fun. Great fun.
Love it. Because you see, the other thing we do is normally our packages go out in a gold dotty bag with hundreds of labels all over it. But if somebody's buying a secret parcel, like I've had husbands say, "Don't ship it the way you normally do because my wife's going to know it's from you. Can you ship it to me in a normal grey envelope?" I said, "Absolutely no problem." And then, but what I do is I put the grey envelope on the outside, and on the inside is the gold spotty bag with everything.
Oh, how fun is that?
Mm.
Oh dear,
It's got to be done.
that's really funny.
Well, I have loved this week. Very sad that Tracy wasn't here.
Yes, absolutely.
Lorraine, it's been so lovely to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us at such short notice.
That's all right. My pleasure. My pleasure. Nice to meet Tracy.
Yeah,
Wonderful to meet you too, Lorraine.
yeah, they're both all
Sorry.
right, you know.
Will do. Will do.
You'll more than do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening this week. Please join us again next week where Tracy A will be back with us. And we're going to be talking about how we are preparing for our sew along. Lorraine, are you going to join us on our 24-hour sew along for charity on these from 1 minute past midnight on the 18th of March until midnight on the 19th of March? Are you going to join us?
No, because the 19th of March is Mother's Day and I've got to cook for the family.
You're the mother. What do you mean you've got to cook? And besides, it's the 18th. It's the day before Mother's Day.
Yeah, but you said it goes into the 19th?
Until midnight.
Ah,
So it's 24 hours from 1 minute past midnight on the 18th, 17th, 18th, going through to midnight on the 18th, 19th.
I'd like to say I would, but I don't think I'll be able to make it. I'm a lady of age who needs her sleep. And the
A
more
lady
beauty
of
sleep,
age. I
the
like
more
that.
beauty sleep I get, the better it is for society in general.
Well, join us because it's a drop in, drop out. You don't need to be there for the full 24 hours.
Okay, will do.
All right, my sweethearts. Have a good
Wonderful.
one.
Yeah,
Lorraine,
thank you.
do you want to say goodbye to everyone, Lorraine?
Goodbye, everyone, Lorraine.
Oh my goodness, our blooper reel grows every week. Lorraine, do you want to try that again?
Okay, goodbye, everybody. Happy quilting. Stay well, stay safe.
Fabulous. Tracy
Oh.
B.
What a fun podcast, John. I must say this was definitely something different and I really enjoyed it. So I look forward to chatting with Tracy again. Hope she's feeling better soon. And I wish you all a fabulous weekend and we'll catch up next week. Bye.
Couldn't
Bye.
have said it better myself. Ladies and gents, look after yourselves, stay safe, and we'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.